Well, sounds like all of you PlayStation and Xbox users will finally get to start playing together. I'm Aaron, and this is Talking Points. So what's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Talking Points here on Triforce of Chaos. On today's episode, I'll be going over the recent news that's concerning console crossplay, or the console get-together that's going along between Microsoft, PlayStation, and even Nintendo's throwing their hat in there. I'll talk about what this can mean for gamers, the industry, and the future of console ownership. And then I'll read your take on all of your I'll take on all of your fansers to find out what you think about this. So with all that being said, let's get talking. So anyway, if you haven't been keeping up with the news, Microsoft recently stated that they're willing to go forward and say, hey Sony, you've got a game that we have on our console. Let's shake hands. We'll allow our users to play with your users, and it'll make gameplay interesting. Sony started out lukewarm with the idea, but now sounds like they're starting to grasp the idea, there we go, and jump on the bandwagon. I'm a little excited about this because, Josh has certain games that he plays on Xbox. I have games that I play on PlayStation. And we both have games that we play together that we can't play together, For instance, he's got GTA 5. I just recently got GTA 5. I would love to do a freaking heist with him or something like that. So, this is a big monumental movement as far as it goes for the gaming world, in my opinion. Like I said, Sony's response was very lukewarm at first, and now all of a sudden they're saying, if the right game comes along, or if something, if our developers are wanting to jump in on it, yeah, let's try it. Nintendo recently stated, now I was thinking Pokemon there with Nintendo, sounds like a good Pokemon name, Nintendler. But anyway, Nintendo stated that they would more than likely jump on that bandwagon as well whenever they announced the NX. There was some comment about crossplay and cross-platform play with Sony and Sony and Microsoft, that Nintendo was like, okay, yeah, we might be willing to jump on this. So sounds like we might be getting to see that pretty soon. I mean, it's, from everything I've read and all the news articles that are going around, I mean, there's plenty on Kotaku and other gaming websites, Game Radar, Tech Radar, stuff like that. I mean, the news is out there. It's pretty much Microsoft's jumping on this bandwagon. Nintendo's been talking about it. Sony really didn't want to talk about it at first, and now they're like, sure. So, what this can mean for gamers in the long run is basically now you can play with your gamer buddies. Like I said, you've got a buddy who has Xbox, you've got a PlayStation, whatever iteration you have of that, most likely the current gen and going onward. You could finally play with that buddy rather than having to go out and buy yourself an Xbox, which could cost you, another $400. Just to play, and then you'd have to buy another copy of the same game, which is another $50 to $30, depending on how long it's been out. This takes away that extra money that you're spending out there, and says, "Hey, look, we're both making them pay the same amount. We both got this game. Why don't we just connect the server, and boom, now we can have friend A and friend B playing." They're spending the same amount of money. We're making profit. We're all equal here. The only downside to this, like I said, is if you want to play Halo, or if you want to play Uncharted, or if you want to play Mario. All three of those, you'd have to go out and buy those systems because they're console exclusives. I wouldn't blame Microsoft for keeping Halo to Xbox, and I wouldn't blame PlayStation for keeping Uncharted. But if Nintendo goes under, hey, Sony and Xbox could both get Mario stuff. Another pro I see here with it is, you're going to get server compatibility to where, you'll finally be able to get a match quicker because there'll be more players online. Now, for me, that sounds like a great idea there. But however, I do see where servers could probably bog down due to software limitations and all that. Again, if they figure this out and they can make it work, software limitations shouldn't be the issue. Hardware limitations shouldn't be an issue. Just equal out the gaming experience through the server. That's pretty much the simplicity of it, you know. I mean, it's Microsoft's been thinking this through. Apparently Sony, when they found out Microsoft was thinking about it, they're quick to jump on the bandwagon because, no, we don't want to limit ourselves. If we can make gamers come to us and our competitor can make gamers want to come to our side, you know, through crossplay, hey, well, it works. Microsoft's thinking the same thing. Sony players can now find out what it's like. You know, if they want to own an Xbox to play Halo, hey, you know, we'll show them what our network can do. It's, you know, I see that. But like I said, there are some cons with this. For instance, you know, friends of mine that play Call of Duty Black Ops, we all know that Sony recently got the rights to, you know, first day exclusives for, say, the map packs or any kind of upgrades or season passes or anything like that. Day one drop goes straight to PlayStation. Whereas Xbox now has to wait maybe a month, 2 months, 3 months, you know, however long they limit it. Now, that, you know, that could be a con there for me. Or for instance, you know, the recent Tomb Raider game came out just for Xbox right now, eventually going to see a release. Well, say they decide to make Tomb Raider online. Microsoft is now kind of pulling Tomb Raider towards them. PlayStation users have to wait a while. Well, these Microsoft users and the PlayStation users who are getting these packs ahead of them are now boosting up a little bit quicker, making it harder to find a great experience when you've got so many people just ripping you to shreds whenever you first jump on. Trust me, not having a season pass and knowing that it can be a shitty experience really fucks up a game for me. I can't stand that. As for the future of gaming, I feel like, you know, we could now start seeing more, you know, massive multiplayer online games that really focus on those big tournaments like WoW has a tournament, you know, League of Legends has a tournament, Dota has a tournament. I mean, you're seeing a lot more now with PC stuff like that. You know, the PC has these big tournaments. Now you can get these big tournaments with teams from PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo. And if it doesn't work out where Nintendo doesn't want to do it, then PlayStation and Xbox teams can, you know, now join up together and play these games like this. So for instance, you know, let's say Maple Story comes out on PlayStation and Xbox. Now me and Josh, rather than having to go out and buy brand new PCs or he has to go out and buy a PS4 or I have to go out and buy an Xbox, we can now play it together. And the future of that means that, say we want to get on a tournament together, I don't have to go out and get the same specs as him just to make it through it. We can play it together. Another thing I could see is maybe just like with the PC Mac single disc that you used to get with stuff like The Sims and all that. Now you can get that with one game. So now these companies don't have to waste money making discs for two systems. Make one disc, you can throw it in there, boom. Both consoles now have that same game. Again, with the way systems do it nowadays, I find that to be it is a little limited by the way the systems do it nowadays. You know, they make you install, but you still have to use that disc. Hey, you're going to be selling the same amount of copies of that game if you think about it, but just not having to make PlayStation oriented or Xbox oriented. Now you can focus on, well, now even the consoles themselves can focus on making the console the way they want it. However, in the future, you know, they can focus on that one disc style, and that'll say, not, you know, I won't say knock the competition out, but it'll prove once and for all gaming is what it was meant to do. Gamers are always meant to be together. That's my opinion on that. We're not meant to be, you know, we can go solo every now and then, but when we truly want to come together, there's no sense butting heads on which one's better. As far as the cons go for it, though, I mean, we do have a bunch of cons. I found a bunch of cons that could come up in the future of gaming. For me, the pay-to-play online, that could come up because, you know, now they're having to get these souped-up servers to handle all these gamers at one time. Now we could start seeing surcharges of maybe like $10 a month or $12 a month just to play online. You know, we already get the $50 a year from PlayStation Plus and Xbox Live. But say Activision's like, yeah, well, now we need money to keep up with our servers. These third parties can now probably look at charging. Will they do it? Who knows? I mean, I never had a problem with that whenever I played Diablo 2 with my buddies who had PCs. But there could be that issue there. The price of games could also go up, you know, since, well, you know, talking about it earlier, they could go up because now they're having to focus on making a disc that can handle both Xbox and PlayStation. Therefore, now they're having to encode one disc 2 ways. It could really cause the pricing to go up. And because now they're not having to make so much extra, they could say, well, you know, now we're not making this disc for one console and then making it for another, or now that we're putting everything on digital, hey, we want 60, 70, or $80. That could hurt the gaming itself right there for me. I mean, because I like a reasonably priced game. I don't think a game should be overly priced to where only certain clientele can buy it. You know, make it affordable. And then network reliability as well. I mean, you start flooding servers with, you know, say 20,000 players at one time. You know, I'm just speculating a number here. It could seriously just flood the servers and make them so that it's just so impossible to actually play the game and play it perfectly. Say another 5,000 players now get in the mix from Nintendo. If Nintendo says, okay, we're jumping in. Now you've clogged it up, service goes slow, and boom, it's completely crashing the server. That could be a huge issue in the long run. So with the gaming possibilities coming from this, it's very awesome, but at the same time very frightening of what could happen. But, you know, as far as it goes, even though there are cons there, I'm really excited and hoping this goes through with both PlayStation and Xbox, and maybe even Nintendo joining in one day. You know, like I said, if Mac and PC can do it, so can Xbox and PlayStation. I mean, I know the programming is going to be difficult, and I know it's going to be a trying time, but hey, shaking hands and saying, let's do something to make our gamers happy, that works for me. Now let's move on to our Fanswers section of our talking points. Fanswers is where I get you, the fans, to answer the talking point of the week. Last week's talking point, as you know, is today's episode. So, yeah, it's all about cross-playability, will rights. As far as cross-platforming gaming goes, well, I stumbled on that a little bit, but that's okay. We'll keep going. I actually experienced this a bit with Street Fighter Cross Tekken. Even though it was in the same family, I fought against a player who was using a PS Vita, and the lag was just simply horrible. I'm not a fan of playing with other platforms. I don't believe it would go well with server integrity. From our Facebook posts, Jen writes a novel. I'm just kidding, Jen. But you did write a freaking novel here. I think it's a great idea. In fact, it's what should have been this whole time, especially for games that were made for multiple platforms anyway. Not much to say about platform exclusive games, unless they are on platforms of my choice in the first place. Haha, just kidding. She actually put that. Thank you, Jen. But as far as games that are already made for multiple platforms, it will definitely open up a lot more possibilities in the gaming world as well as socially. From a social perspective, you won't have platform wars anymore because everyone can get the platform of their choice and then get the same game from their friends and still be able to play with them instead of being like, sorry, I can't play with you. I don't have the same platform as you because I prefer mine over the one you have. Instead it'll be more like, yeah, what time and what game? And maybe the systems still want to offer some incentives for getting their system compared to others. They can maybe add some platform exclusive content that is still somehow cross-platform, in the sense that, okay, maybe it's a weapon in an FPS game that's exclusive to PlayStation 4 users, but can still be used by people playing on Xbox, or maybe Xbox comes out with a costume pack or something that offers bigger stat boosts, but is still usable against other platforms. Okay, Jen, I read your novel. Thank you. And our next post comes from Noah, who writes, "I think it'll be freaking sweet, yo. I can finally kick your fine tushy." Noah. No. Not on my show, bro. No. Anyway, in some of our favorite games. He then proceeds to insult PlayStation, gets a little Korea-like in the war comments, yeah. He went all North Korea is the best Korea when he talks about Xbox being better than PlayStation. And Will was like, "Nah, I'm not having that. I'll be South Korea and PlayStation." So Noah starts North Korea. "Xbox is best console." Will's like, "No, PlayStation is best console." Then all of a sudden they agreed to disagree. So yeah, the comment war happened there, and it was pretty funny. I'm not going to go into all the details. It was, yeah. But anyway, thanks to everyone out there for all the fansers. Y'all did an awesome job, and I want to thank all of y'all that do respond. I also want to thank all the people that viewed. I had the most views in 2 days on the Talking Points episode that I've had in a long time, and I mean, that really made my day. So with that being said, let's move on to next week's Talking Point, which is, what collectible items do you collect? For my answer, well, you can see here. Mostly Alien stuff, Star Wars stuff, action figures, Funko Pops, and Lego stuff, and Mega Brick stuff. A lot of that's Halo. Yeah. I have a PlayStation, but I loved Halo. That was the only reason I owned an Xbox at one point. But anyway, we want to know what your answer is. Also, make sure you stay tuned next week, as I'll have a special guest here in the studio, or here in the Talk Cave, who will be talking about collectibles. So until then, thanks for tuning in, and as always, keep talking.
You want to know a secret?
What's that?
You can click this column over here. Yeah, that one right there, and watch the video. Or
you can click that
you can
column.
click my dick to subscribe. Thanks for watching.